I thought I'd just sit around and think out loud about God. Over the years we learn more and more about God, and you know, I was, I can remember one time thinking that, you know, and also a lot of time in these videos I'll mention something, but I won't, like when I was saying, he was a little kid looking out into the northeast sky and looking at how can that just go on and on and on, and it's got to stop somewhere, but what's outside that? But what that was all about really was how we live. That's a sign of how we're going to live forever. God doesn't create things that don't last. I mean, the angels he created are still alive. They'll live forever. The good ones with him, the bad ones into the lake of fire and sulfur. But, he doesn't create things that stop existing. They get distorted and twisted, and he'll straighten them out or whatever. But anyway, I just was thinking out loud about one thing I'd like to do too one of these days was read the Bible and make a commentary as I read it, but not a commentary like I would have to start everything off with trust ye no man, search the scriptures daily, make sure that it wouldn't be that kind of a commentary where you're getting the truth out of the word, but just my thoughts on it. For instance, I was reading in Jeremiah the other day, and we've always heard the thing about pray and the Lord will hear and heal our land, and in the Old Testament and the Israelites in the Promised Land, they'd do good for a while and go bad, and they'd pray and he'd heal their land, but it was he was talking Jeremiah's days, and it's getting towards the end of all the bad kings, and the north might have already gone off to Babylon. I don't remember. It might be just the south that's still there. I don't remember where they fell in the kings, but I think anyway, he was reading along, and he said he was talking, and I'll just paraphrase my thoughts. It was like, you guys, you'll be praying to me, but I'm having second thoughts about healing your land because of all of the innocent bloodshed. And then I immediately thought about today and how the United States really needs an awakening, needs a revival, needs our land healing. But I was wondering if he might be having second thoughts because of all of the innocent bloodshed, because of the abortion industry and what have you. And it's not to say that bad about the people that had abortions, the industry itself. People get conned into abortions, so easy. But anyway, I was thinking that. So that would have been, when I read the Bible, then I'd just make a commentary of, as I'm reading it, oh, this is what I think. Oh, this makes me think about this. For instance, when I did the thing on communication about the Tower of Babel and saw the vision of the spaceship, and God confounded the language, and we put it back together, and here we are building a tower, that kind of thing. But anyway, I thought this would be just thinking about, sit around and think about God. And because I remember once thinking, like he was, he's been there forever, and he's all this goodness, all this greatness. Man, I want to share this with somebody. And so I'm thinking of starting point. He created the angels, and then he created man. But then when you start learning more about God, and the omnipresent, omniscient, omnipotent, he's everywhere all at once. He knows everything there is to know. He's all powerful. He knows the beginning from the end. So it's not like he was cruising around in whatever, and then starts this thing beginning with the angels. Or which I don't know how they went. Was Satan the first one, or was the cherubim, and So he's already had it all together, and now it's playing out for us or for the angels. And one thing I remember it was reading of the I don't know if it was the cherubim or the seraphim, and they constantly, all they do is, holy, holy, holy is the Lord God Almighty. It's like they only say these few words and they do it forever and ever. And I was thinking, like boring or, what. But then I was thinking about this also about God wanted to, he's so good and so loving and so kind. He wants to share it. So I'm thinking that, when it's better to give than to receive. So when he gives to something, he gives back. So these cherubim or seraphim or whoever flying around saying that all the time, they're getting back. They're praising God, and praise is coming back to them. So they're really getting full of whatever the capabilities of whatever they are really getting energized and flowing. That's the greatest thing in the world for them. They dig this, and because they get times, because when we grow up and we get in the drug life, and you think, well, so there's a lot of things that really feel really good, but then they have their downside. But anyway, that really feeling good, but word can't imagine what all the goodness and the glory that God has, and so his creating these creatures that do that, they're getting whatever, and then he creates Satan, let's say, and Lucifer rather, and all these angels, and then I think something like maybe word got out that he was going to create earth and man, and then Lucifer, he's seeing all that God's getting back, and man, I want that. I want to be worshipped like he's worshipped. Everybody's worshiping him. I want to get the those humans he's going to go create on that. He's going to create these heavens and this earth, and I want to go down. I want to be there. I want to get the glory. I want to get the praise. I want to go down there and get them to praise me. I don't know how it worked out, but anyway, he caused some kind of rebellion, and a third of the angels, there's lots of them. They went with him. I don't know what would have caused them to want to go. It was Lucifer's pride, I believe, wanting it for himself. And I don't know what the fallen angels that went with him, what was he offering them, or did he have a council with them, or did they just happen to be there? And see, there's just some thoughts. I have to keep this on 9 minutes, and I talked about some other things so much that I just wanted to think about God, because he's everywhere all at once. He knows everything there is to know, and he has the power to do anything he wants to do. He's all power, all knowledge, everywhere all at once. Here's a little caterpillar crossing the sidewalk, and there's a sparrow over here, and he's going to go down and snatch that in just a minute. You come walking along, you step on it and kill it, and sticks to your shoe. Otherwise, the bird could have came down and got it after you went by, but now his breakfast is gone. You're carrying a BB gun, and you look up and see him, you shoot him and kill him. You know, he allows it to happen. And one day, you know, we're saved by the blood of Christ. Our eternity is set. We know where we're gonna spend eternity. But before we start into the good part of eternity, we're gonna have to, he'll remember that. He'll bring it up. I don't know how he's gonna bring it up, but you know, and let's say you saw it and stepped over it, and just a little thing like that, there would be a reward for it. You saw the sparrow, you saw the worm, caterpillar or whatever, and if you would have stepped over it and smiled at the bird, just a simple thing like that, there would have been a reward for it. So instead, you know, you don't get a point against you when you go before the Lord, but that you'll see that reward you would have gotten had you stepped over the caterpillar and then not shot and killed it. So, anyways, so sometime yourself, just sit around and just contemplate God and what all He does and how He does it. And, you know, the more we get to know our God, the more we'll get to know Him, and we'll never ever know everything there is about Him. Just like space goes forever. I mean, there's no end to Him. The finding out of Him is unfindable. I mean, when we've been there 10,000 years, we've no less time to start singing and joyful than we did the first day we got there, you know, like that song. So, just think about God a lot. Think about God a lot.